Well, welcome to the show, Melanie. It's great to have you today.
Thanks. I'm here.
Well, I want to start off by asking you a question before we dive into the UX strategy. Tell me one quirky or unexpected thing about you that your colleagues at UT Austin might not know.
I know. Actually, this is kind of funny because I feel like I'm enough of an open book to where it may not be a whole lot, but uh, some of my colleagues will know. Like I have triplets, and that's not necessarily not known. But what they may not know is that I used to do a little comic strip about them. So I've been logging the funny things that they say since they could talk. And I started doing like a little comic strip about it. And it's like real crude and quick. And that was kind of the idea. It was during the pandemic and it's fallen off now. But yeah, you could go look at my Instagram and scroll back in history and see all the silly things that they used to say.
I love that. I'll have to get your Instagram because I
Yeah.
want to check that out. I used to love comics when I was really little. I tried to make up my own comics. So
Yeah.
that's really awesome. You've had a pretty fascinating path from fine arts to UX design. How has that creative foundation shaped the way you approach user experience?
Um, the interesting thing is it is almost the opposite. So when I create art, I create art for myself, right? And unless I'm commissioned, but with UX work, it's the exact opposite. I actually have to remove myself from that experience and only focus on building things for other people. So my brain actually has to switch back and forth quite a bit between doing work for me and doing work for other people. So it almost hasn't shaped it in a way because it's actually the opposite of what it is. Yeah.
That's interesting. You just made me remember a guest I had on a couple months ago. Her name's Tracy Halverson. She's the CEO of Adeo, an agency, and she's an artist. And exactly what she said. She's like, I'm an artist for me, and the rest kind of comes out of that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of I get that. What first drew you into higher ed user experience, and why have you stayed in that lane?
Yeah, higher ed's it's a unique space, right? It's an interesting space. So I was already working in higher ed when I got my master's degree, and that master's program focused on users. And this was actually quite a long time ago. It was kind of a newer approach to teaching, web development and computer science and those sorts of things. And so it was easy to get into higher ed because I was already here. And then my first job that I had sort of doing this work here, I made a comment. I think it was my first week. I made a comment that something wasn't user friendly. And they said, we don't care. And it was like this Bon Jovi moment where it was like, shot through the heart. Oh my gosh. And I started looking around and I was realizing, oh, UX work isn't really being done in higher ed very much. Okay, how can I change that? And I'm still trying to change that. That's why I do these presentations so that anyone will feel empowered to do this kind of work. Even small amounts of it can add up into something bigger, and they can do it at any time during a project.
That's a I get that. You made me think of something else too. I've always felt like I'm a kind of a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And I've dabbled in web design and programming, and I like graphic design. And recently, I started using some of these tools like Lovable. Lovable is one of those vibe coding platforms where you can just kind of prompt something to be built, and even Claude. So
Uh-huh.
I'm starting to use these AI tools a little bit for UX. Have you used any of these tools like to prototype anything at all?
Yeah, well, prototyping. So I love this question because everyone is trying to figure this out, right? And okay, so I'll tell you what I currently do and then maybe what I hope to do in the future. So currently I use AI mainly to help me ideate. Like I feel like it's pretty strong in that area. I actually took a course from the Nielsen Norman Group this year specifically about AI in UX and very relevant for me. It was a wonderful course. So I can give AI prompts in a certain way, ask it to give me multitudes of answers and ideas back. Um, so I do like it for the ideation. I've had it help me on our last project. I had it help me summarize our user testing findings into kind of actionable items and sort of like a report structure as kind of that first draft. And in the near future, I'm hoping to spin up my own instance of ChatGPT or some equivalent for a specific persona that I can bounce ideas off of. I mean, honestly, I need to test that quite a bit because I'm a bit wary of that path. I worry that the feedback an AI generated persona will give me is a little recursive or a little too like being a sycophant, a little too like eager to please.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'd have
Yeah.
to test it. And mainly, I feel like I just want to be faster so I can get more work done. But for the prototyping, I've had no good luck with it designing anything good.
Yeah.
Not
I,
not yet. But the designing's the fun part. Like I want to do that. AI go do my reports for me. All that
yeah.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to go do
Yeah.
that.
Well, you're getting into something where here's how I feel. I feel like there's a spectrum, right? There's hardcore programming over here, and there's creative over here, and there's a spectrum. And I feel like UX is kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And what I'm excited about, like for you, is that I think your job is secure for a long time
Good.
because like when I use these tools, I'm like, I have this idea. It kind of does pretty well, but I need the final mile. I need to give this to you. And then you can be like, oh yeah, I get your idea. I can make that better. Like I feel like it's not even close to being a final product when you're using these. So yeah, programming wise, like a lot of people who are, we're not going to need as many junior level programmers, but I think the UX people are here for a while because you need to take this output and adjust these little, it's a, because UX is a bunch of little things, right? It's hard to,
Well, it's
it's
human-centered design, and that can be a little harder for AI to quite grasp all those idiosyncrasies and little tiny micro interactions that you need a user to do.
right, right. Well, let's get into like what you are becoming famous for is these talks all over the country where you're talking about user experience on a budget. I mean, this is great for higher ed. Like I said in your intro, Melanie is presenting at conferences and winning awards, largely because no one's doing what she's doing. These aren't common topics, I think, at conferences. It's a lot of this, like I jumped into AI pretty early in this podcast here, but um, tell me about like, you've said higher ed budgets for UX are often, small or non-existent. How do you make a compelling case to leadership for user experience investment?
Well, the term investment implies money, and that scares a lot of people. It doesn't go over very well. So I look at UX on how can we help achieve business goals for the university. Are we low on enrollment? Are we not attracting the caliber of students we want? Are we spending too much staff time fielding admission calls because the website sucks? Like, whatever it is, UX can help with those pain points. Like, it's here for that through thoughtful research and identifying issues, requirements, solutions. Like, it's here for all of it. So let's just get on board and take off into outer space so we can make the better product.
Yeah, yeah. So you often, well, I guess, can you walk us through the budget-friendly UX strategies you presented at these
Yeah.
recent conferences, especially the one where you won the Red Stapler Award?
Okay. So that was a fun event. High Ed Web, which is now called DigiCall, is full of really wonderful people who are so into a dialogue with each other. And I love it there. So I told the folks at the talk, here's the UX activities that are the biggest bang for your buck. This is what you could be doing now. They don't take much time, effort, no money if you don't have it. Like, it really can be as boiled down as just chatting with your users. What a great idea. I didn't come up with that. I'm just telling people to go do it. Sending people surveys, interviewing them, doing light testing throughout your design phase. So, kind of the main takeaway was it's cheaper to do UX now versus shoving it in after you launch. And it doesn't have to take much of your time. So, let's just start doing more of it because not
Yeah,
enough is being done in higher
yeah.
ed.
Before I forget, let's give Digital Collegium a plug. Both Melanie and I will be there. She'll be presenting, right? You'll be presenting there. I'll be doing a different topic, but it's in Grand Rapids, Michigan this year at the end of September. So everybody go check it out. It's probably one of the best, high ed
I
conferences out
agree.
there.
I agree.
Um, so yeah, do it often, do it early. You know what I used to do? Tell me if you do any of this. Like when I was at Sacramento State, I was a web director there. I started this student, we call it the Student Technology Advisor Group. I'd try to bring in 8 students. The trick is getting students to show up. I realized all we needed was pizza. Like just
Yeah,
give them
food.
pizza.
Food is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so show up, and I'd have a script. It would be more of a focus group, and we did some testing too. The UX testing we did, we just asked them to find some things, do these things, and that was we there was huge insights there. That's where we learned like they go to the search bar, they're not even looking on our
No.
page.
That's going to be in my talk. I'm calling it the spicy click. It's like, why are they doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was really eye opening to just one strategy we probably talk about is like just get some students to like talk to you one on one, right?
Yeah.
Um, so can you tell me about like what's your go-to tool set? Like there's so many tools out there. I get a little overwhelmed. Like I don't even know what to try anymore these days because there's so many out there.
My tool set is my brain. I mean, it's really, I don't use anything expensive. I've never used eye tracking software. I've never felt like I have a need for it. Um, I I do my kind of stuff through that hands-on, user approach, talking with them a lot, user interviews. I'll just set up a table in the building with some donuts. I'm kind of known for the as the
Yeah,
donut
yeah, yeah,
person that
yeah,
gives
yeah.
everyone donuts, and we'll just talk and we'll go through pain points. We send out surveys. Those top task surveys I talk about a lot because they are huge gold mines for your project. And they cost so little employee time and no money, right? Like this is
Right.
things that everyone can be doing. So
Yeah.
when it comes to tooling, it's literally just me figuring out what I need to do and going and doing it. I use Excel for my notes. Like I can't have AI take my notes for me
Yeah.
because it doesn't know when they missed that thing I need them to
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
they went and did some spicy clicks over here and I'm like, what was that? I need a human to take those notes. So I don't have tools. Like I probably should, right? Well, I've had plenty of success without tools.
Well,
So
that's
I
refreshing
can't.
to know like
Yeah,
there's no pressure to there's not a tool everybody's using or needs to use. If you want to use tools, great, but
right.
you
I
probably
mean, I
have
do
some
use
basic.
Figma for
Yeah.
prototyping.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do pay for that.
Yeah.
I was using XD for a long time because it already came with the suite, but it wasn't quite cutting it for me. So we hopped into Figma and we're definitely more happy with that. But you can get by without that, you know?
Well, let's go back to AI. We talked a little bit about. I tell you how I was using AI, and it's directly related to UX. Have you done anything like using AI with personas, or how do you see AI fitting into more of the UX research and design in the coming years, especially in higher ed?
Yeah, so like I said, I do want to spin up an instance for personas so I can start testing to see if it's going to work or not because I'm a little dubious. I know some people have started doing that. Um, I'm just not, I'm a little bit more of the Gen X, hey, I'm less likely to adopt new tech until it's proven its worth.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we've been through quite a lot of tech changes in the Gen X
yeah.
time. But uh, but yeah, so I'm hoping that in the future it will be because I already use it for ideation, so I'm pretty set there. Although it could always, I'm sure, be better in some way. But the note taking would be so nice because then I wouldn't have to go bother my coworkers to come and take notes for me during all these testing sessions. That would be super nice. But I just don't know if it's going to get there anytime soon. Like I
We're
don't
in the
know.
same boat. I think you're right. I think it's a Gen X thing because I'm a Gen X too, and I have all the note takers set up, and they all do all their every system I'm is doing, but I never go back to them. I still use my little. This is what I'm going
Yeah,
to is my notepad here. So it's like, yeah, we know it's there, but I'm like, what's funny is I'm not even a big app guy. Everything my kids, Cub Scouts, the soccer team, all this has an app for this and that. I'm the worst one about downloading and getting the app. I think
it's a
that's a
commitment.
different
It's a
generation
commitment to
thing.
download an app and give them
Yeah.
my. I go and look at the what content do you have it? What are you keeping about me, right? Like if it's a long list, no, sorry.
Well, I just can't even filter through. I feel almost embarrassed that I start talking about this, but even like the soccer team people are telling me, "Did you get that message? Did you get my email?" I'm like, I can't. My personal email box is kind of a mess right now. I'm waiting for someone to scream at me that you missed something. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Like
You
that's
have
kind
to
of where
wait for
I'm
it to
at.
bubble up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But little sidetracked, but yeah, some similarities there. I feel you, Melanie.
Yeah.
Um,
I think a lot of us are in the same boat with AI, and it's some kind of weird race, but we don't know where the finish line is. So
I love that. That might be my soundbite for this.
yeah, there you go.
Um, what are some myths about user experience, especially in higher ed, that you love to bust?
Yeah. There's one in particular that I think people who are trying, they're not me, they're not a UX designer, they're just somebody who wants to do good. They want to do right by their users, and they're trying to get that permission or whatever. The myth that it takes longer and it's more expensive to do UX is a myth. It's totally the opposite. Um, I yeah, I would there's so many things I could say, but it actually costs more
Yeah, we
when
don't
you
have time for that. Is not the right answer, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it costs more. It'd be like, okay, Jeff, if you were like Melanie, I don't bake cookies, but let's pretend like I bake cookies, and you said I need a dozen chocolate chip cookies for some party, my soccer game, whatever. Okay, and then I bake them and I let them cool, and then I realized, oh, Jeff needed chocolate chip cookies. I didn't do that. I didn't even maybe I didn't even ask you what you needed. Now I'm going to go shove in chocolate chips to this cookie. It's probably going to break. It's going to crumble. And meanwhile, you and your soccer team over here standing with no cookies to eat, or they kind of taste gross and they're all like crumbly and falling apart. Would you
Yes.
ask me to do that again? No. Is a user, you just lost trust. Is a user going to go and buy your product again when they can't use it very well? No, like it's not in your best interest.
It
So
makes
doing UX throughout the project ensures that the user's needs are met, ensures the trust is provided, right?
It makes so much sense now that we talk back and look back, and even to anyone out there would probably say, "Oh yeah, yeah." But what comes down to it, when leadership comes to you and says this has to be done in 2 months, you look at your project timeline. The first thing that's going to get cut is the front end work, like every time almost. So I totally hear you. It makes so much sense. And one thing I would recommend, and tell me what you think about this. Um, this helps you down the road too. When you go back and you have this room of baby boomers that are trying to make a decision on what Gen Z wants, and they think they want this and this and this, and you have, look, I have data here. You're wrong. Like we don't
Assumptions.
need
UX does
to,
not do well with assumptions, right?
right. So you got to do it for that too, because you're going to fight the consensus. Like when we dumb down at the end of the very lowest common denominator, when 20 people that are in leadership want to get what they want, but you have the data saying our students want this.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
maybe that'll help you justify it in the beginning.
Well, and also like a normal project life cycle includes iterative feedback from your users. So why would I ask permission to do a project the correct way? Is it a budget thing? Well, there's plenty of things we can do with little time and little money, so that doesn't hold water. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of it is like in any job, I guess. Like, I think why I first really wanted to get you on this podcast is because when people are in their job for a while, they build this confidence. Some people have confidence built into their personality. But once you've been in a job for a while, you love your job, you're the one that people are going to start looking to. You probably have a little more sway in your role than other people in theirs because you like, I know how I'm going to do it. It's not going to be like an ask. It's going to be like, this is how we're going to do it. So when you're new to your role, it's kind of hard to do. But I think, you know, try to have that confidence Melanie has going in saying, this is just the way we have to do it.
Yeah. 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 Don't ask for permission. Like, why? Like, it's the better thing to do. Just work it into your project,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the
Let
that's the
someone
way
else
it
cut
should be
out the
done.
project. Like, you're really going to have to fight me on this one because we need it. We need it bad. Please be that in higher ed. It's so easy to sit back and just, yeah, yeah, we can do
But
that. And I realized late in my career, I was kind of like, oh yeah, is this a battle I want to fight or not? So, it's tough.
I'm pretty feisty. I'll fight most of the time. People can hit me up on LinkedIn. We'll come up with some dialogue.
Yeah, yeah. So, what about institutions that don't have a dedicated UX person on staff? What are the first small steps they can take to integrate it into their work?
Yeah, most people don't have me. on their team. But the good news is, again, there's lots of UX things that you can do in your projects. And the best small step, I mean, I don't know if it sounds corny, it's just do something. It's better
Mhm.
than nothing, right? Did you
Mhm.
just try to do, just go talk to users about your pain points, about their pain points. Like, you could do that. Just start asking questions, get the dialogue rolling with your users. Because seriously, when you start doing that, you do not stop. Like, it's like a Pringles pop can. Like, you don't stop. It keeps feeding. And then your leadership starts seeing the results of that really juicy feedback. And then it just kind of continues to grow like a snowball, you know?
Mhm. Is UT Austin set up where you're really siloed and there's departments everywhere and like other people, other areas, divisions might have their own, maybe not UX person, but their own web team that
Yes.
kind of does their own thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are services like overarching services. I believe they're paid for, in certain ways. So if you don't have a dedicated person, or they've set up a Drupal kit so people can do kind of the basic stuff. But our team at the law school is pretty is very lean, but we're very effective. And because a lot of law schools have to build and maintain their own tools because we don't fit into main campus, even like a course schedule. We don't even fit into the course schedule because our times are wacky. Um, but yeah, so we have to have this really robust team, but we're super small for what we do. Like, we're very mighty, but we're very small and lean. But for people starting out, just get the ball rolling, right? Try
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
thing and then do the next thing and just kind of keep working on those little steps.
Yeah. It's something that's often left out. You just got to do it. I have one for you here that I kind of am really interested in. Do you have any time where you've had a small UX change that had a surprisingly big impact on the student or staff experience?
Yeah, this is interesting because the work that I do for the law school is mostly project based. So it's like a whole project would have had an impact. And reflecting, there's lots of wins. We have lots of wins all the time because of the work that I do, and it's wonderful, and the students love it, and the staff love it. And faculty are kind of, always sort of never pleased, so you never really know about them. But we built a student dashboard years ago where law students can do pretty much everything they really need to do from there. And we have a list of important dates in this kind of side panel, mainly so they don't have to go look stuff up all the time. Like, when is the last day to drop a class? And we had the final exam week listed. This is a very small thing. We had the final exam week. It's like a week, right? It wasn't okay. So we decided to change it. We have the students' data. We know when their final exams are because we know the registration. So we ended up changing it out and swapping the final exam week for their specific final exam dates. So in that important dates list, it doesn't, now it says your business law, whatever class, here's your exam date for that. Here's your exam date for that. So it's more meaningful then to them. And the students were really happy to have that change because, again, it was one less thing they had to go look up. So that's just like a tiny thing, like a tiny little nugget that students end up, or anybody, benefits from that UX that you do, because you realize, like, oh, yeah, we can just do this one thing, and it's actually kind of a bigger impact because it saves people time or mental load. And yeah.
I can't remember if you were you and I sat in some of the same sessions at EduWeb, um, a couple months ago. One of them was revealing some research, and what came out was that a lot of research on personalization and that how you don't have to personalize as much as you think.
Yes, I was in that one.
In that one, I was like, yes, thank you. How do you look at personalization with UX
Yeah,
just in
it's
general?
that there's a balance, and I'll be honest, I haven't figured it out yet. So we have tons of student data, right? And the things that we build, the tools that we build for them, we try to make sure they have to do the least amount of work. So a lot of times it is, personalized. Like, their course schedule, of course, is personalized. Let's display that instead of something else. Or, hey, we already know what textbooks you need for this class. Can we just go ahead and put that on there for you? So it's more about helping. So for people who are already in the system, it makes sense. For people who are outside the system, like a prospective student or parent or a donor or whoever it is, I guess a donor is not really outside the system, but um, that was that the session that talked about the creep factor.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I like
absolutely.
that a lot. Because it's so true. You're like, well, you don't want to come across as like breathing over people's
Yeah,
necks in some
yeah,
weird way. So we haven't figured that out yet. We had a website redesign a couple of years ago, and that was something we talked about was, is there any personalization we could do? We ultimately decided, well, we don't have enough time because our launch date got accelerated, but also, I'm not sure we're ready for that because we're not sure how to do it effectively. What goals, so I always go back to goals. What goals do we have? What needs do we have as a university that requires us to do that? Are we just gathering big data to
right,
have big data? Like, what are we
right,
doing here? So I'd like to know what we're doing so that we can effectively give the user
yeah,
the experience they need, right?
yeah. It always goes back to the why. I feel
Yeah,
like, um, with personalization, you shouldn't feel like personalization. Like you look
yeah.
at Netflix or Amazon, it doesn't feel like anything. It feels like, wow, there's no idea. Like maybe your first name's up there, but to tell people what you know about them is not the idea. It's more like, yeah, use it to serve up what they need in that moment. Like, why are we doing this? What is this page for?
What they
It's
need, but also it marries with what we need them to do, right? So, yeah.
right. We have to guide them. It's really hard. I talk about why it's so hard in higher ed for so many reasons. Like, right, we're in this really complex digital ecosystem because of all the silos we have. We have poor digital governance in general,
Yes.
because we have hundreds of people publishing content, which is
Yes.
not normal compared to
Yep.
other private sectors.
Right.
And then we have all these personas, like all these, like whether they're students and all the different flavors of students, or we have um, uh, donors, community members, faculty, administrators. They can go on and on. So it's just, I think it's the most complicated, really vertical I've ever worked in. And
Yeah, because you're not selling one product. You're selling and the product you're selling a lot of products for people. It could be a degree, it could be a plaque on a wall, like it could be all kinds of things.
we have less money, right? And
We have
so
no money to
it's,
do it.
yeah, we have less money, and so now we're compared to a Netflix, which has one goal to
Yeah.
get you to watch a show, and
Yeah.
everyone has the same goal. It's completely have all the money. It's completely different.
Yeah, it's
So,
not like if we were Apple, we still, it's technology products, right? There's your product.
right.
But no, we have so many products that we're trying to give people or have them work with us. And it is very hard. I haven't really thought about that a whole lot. I'm going to think about that some more.
Well, I want to ask you one more question, and it's kind of the same thing I've been asking, well, in a different way here. But if you could give one piece of advice to any higher ed team wanting to improve their website or digital experience tomorrow, what would it be?
I think talking to your users about their pain points, and I mean diving in there, understanding them, that's where a lot of your solutions are going to start coming from. And that's where you'll be able to alleviate those pain points and have their experience become less painful and more meaningful. That's definitely something that our team is always trying to do is like, where's the problem and how can we fix it? So if you can just start talking to your users about pain points that they experience, and it doesn't have to be in the digital space, right? It could be literally, oh, the sidewalk is non-existent over here and I have to walk over here, whatever it is. But just start talking to people about their pain points. That's
Right.
that's a great starting
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, man. Good advice. Love it. It's often overlooked. So
Yeah.
don't skip your UX, everybody. I'm going
I
to
know.
put links to Melanie's bio and UT Austin's website in the show notes. And Melanie, it was great having you on.
Thank you, Jeff. I loved it. I love talking about all of it so much.
Yeah. Well, you're good at it, so keep doing it. And everyone, go see Melanie at Digital Collegium, or she has a lot of recordings out there too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
bye bye.
Bye.